In 1862, in a cramped house in East London, 4 children from the same family died, one after another, different ages, months apart. The doctors were baffled. There was no outbreak, no obvious disease. The only thing the 4 children had in common was the bedroom they shared and the beautiful green wallpaper on its walls. That color was in millions of homes, the most fashionable shade of the century, and it was quietly killing the people who lived with it. But the deaths it caused looked completely natural, so nobody blamed the walls. By the end of this, you will never look at a wall the same way again. To understand how a wall could kill you, you first have to understand how badly the Victorians wanted this color. For most of history, a rich, vivid green was almost impossible to make. Natural dyes were dull, and they faded fast. Then, in 1775, a Swedish chemist named Carl Wilhelm Scheele created something new. A green so bright, so alive, that nothing else came close. They called it Scheele's green. It was an instant sensation. For the first time, ordinary people could fill their homes with a color that had belonged to gardens and jewels, and fill them they did. Scheele's green went everywhere: wallpaper, paint, dresses, candles, children's toys. It was even used to color sweets. By the middle of the 1800s, this green was, quite literally, everywhere you looked. There was just one problem. To make that beautiful green, Scheele had used arsenic, copper and arsenic, bound together. Every roll of that gorgeous wallpaper was laced with one of the most famous poisons in history. And Scheele's green was only the beginning. A few decades later, an even brighter version arrived. Emerald green, sometimes called Paris green. It was more vivid, more stable, and just as deadly. Together, these 2 pigments colored an entire era. By some estimates, the majority of homes in Britain came to contain arsenic wallpaper. This was not a rare luxury. It was the paper of ordinary families, in ordinary rooms. It was on the walls of the parlor, the dining room, and worst of all, the nursery, where children slept beneath it every single night. Here is where it gets strange. Arsenic in your wallpaper does not sound that dangerous. You are not eating the walls. So how did a decorative pigment poison entire households? There were 2 ways in. The first was simple: dust. The pigment did not bond to the paper. As the wallpaper aged, it shed a fine, almost invisible dust. Flakes of arsenic that drifted into the air, onto food, onto a child's toys. In a sealed Victorian parlor, with the windows shut against the cold, you would breathe that dust in day after day, year after year. But the second way in was far stranger. Victorian homes were damp, and when that arsenic green wallpaper got damp, mold began to grow on the paste behind it. The mold fed on the arsenic, and as it did, it released it back out as an invisible, toxic gas. An Italian doctor named Bartolomeo Gozio proved it. A living room could slowly fill with arsenic vapor seeping out of the walls themselves. The very dampness of the house turned the wallpaper into a poison factory. And children were the most vulnerable of all. They spent the most time indoors, closest to the walls. They pressed their hands to the paper and their hands to their mouths. Their small bodies absorbed the poison faster than any adult. In home after home, across the country, it was the children who sickened first. Pale, tired, wasting, while the beautiful green that surrounded them looked on, completely innocent. Arsenic poisoning is slow. It does not strike you down. It wears you away. Headaches, exhaustion, stomach cramps, a sore throat that never quite cleared. Children in green nurseries grew pale and thin and weak. They wasted away in their own bedrooms. And to a Victorian doctor, this looked exactly like the diseases already killing thousands. The poison hid inside illnesses everyone already feared. But some cases were impossible to ignore. In 1861, a 19-year-old woman named Matilda Scheele made artificial flowers. She dusted fake leaves with that brilliant green powder all day long. She died in agony. She vomited green. The whites of her eyes turned green. She told her doctor that everything she looked at appeared green. She had been dyed from the inside out by her own work. Remember the 4 children from the beginning of this story. In 1862, in Limehouse, A doctor named Thomas Orton was called to a home where child after child had died. He searched for a cause. He tested the water. He looked for infection. He found nothing. The only thing every death had in common was the room they had slept in and the green paper on its walls. At the time, he could not prove it. But today, we know exactly what he was looking at. The warnings had been there for decades. As early as the 1830s, doctors noticed patients who recovered the moment they left their green rooms and fell ill again the moment they returned. One physician grew so suspicious of his own bedroom that he had the green paper torn from the walls. His symptoms vanished. The evidence was personal, repeatable, and damning. And still, for years, it would be waved away. And here is where the story takes its darkest turn. By now, the people making this green had a very good idea of what it was doing, and they decided to say nothing. By the 1870s, the evidence was piling up, but the green wallpaper industry was enormous and enormously profitable. Admitting the danger meant destroying a fortune. One of the most celebrated designers of the age, William Morris, made some of the most beautiful arsenic green wallpapers ever printed. When customers raised concerns, he dismissed their fear as foolish hysteria. It probably helped that his family fortune came partly from one of the largest arsenic mines in the world. The man telling everyone the arsenic was harmless had a powerful reason to want it sold. And this is the answer to the question we started with. Why did the deaths look natural? Because the poisoning was slow. The symptoms copied common diseases. The doctors did not know to look, and the people who did know had every reason to stay quiet. The perfect poison is not the one that kills fastest. It is the one nobody thinks to blame. In the end, it was not a single law that killed off the deadly green. It was the public itself. As the story spread, people grew terrified of the color on their walls. Manufacturers, sensing the shift, began proudly advertising their wallpapers as arsenic-free. The market did what the lawmakers had been slow to do. It abandoned the poison. By the end of the century, the beautiful deadly green had faded from fashion almost completely. There is one last twist. When Napoleon died in exile in 1821, his room was decorated with green wallpaper. Long after, arsenic was found in samples of his hair, and to this day, some believe his damp, green walls helped kill him. Most historians disagree, but the fact that it is even plausible tells you how dangerous that color really was. So the next time you fall in love with a color, a paint, a fabric, the perfect shade on a wall, remember Scheele's green. The most beautiful things in a room are not always the safest. And if a poison can hide in something as ordinary as a wall, imagine what your own brain is hiding from you every second you are awake. That is the video I would watch next. I will see you there.